Hey everybody, it's Corey with Natural Born Tillers, and we're here with the next installment of our Organic Gardening Masterclass series. And today we're going to be talking about saving seeds. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get started. What we have here is a bed of our seed stock. So our featured crop, with the crop we're using to demonstrate our seed saving techniques this month, is kale. So we planted this kale over the fall, we've harvested it, and now it's gone to seed. And we've shown you a couple of the different stages, but this is the finished stage, the stage where we're ready to harvest the plant for the seed. So what you see here is that it's flowered from top all the way to the bottom, or bottom all the way to the top, and you have the end of the flowering stalk, but everything else has these nice fat seed pods. And you're going to open them up, one or two, just to see if there are some green, they look like little green peas. If there's some mature seed in the seed pod, that means that you're basically good to go. And so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna pull these and we're gonna hang them to dry. And as they dry, the plant will take all of its remaining energy and put it into the maturation and hardening off of those seeds. So you see here we have a bunch of different colors and types of kale. So we've taken lacinato kale, red Russian kale, Siberian kale, different kale varieties, and they're all open pollinated varieties, which means that they're not hybrids, and we've let them go to flower. So the bees have done all the work for us. They've come to these flowers, they've pollinated each individual flower, which has resulted in these matured seed pods. But they're going from different plant to different plant, and in doing that, they're crossing the genetic material amongst all these plants. So the result of these seeds will be a multi-kale cross that will be hardy to your environment because it's grown well. You're going to select plants. For instance, some of these plants didn't do as well, didn't create very many seeds. But the ones that grew really tall and created the biggest, fattest seeds, that's what we're going to plant for next year. So when you really get into gardening, you start developing a habit of collecting seed catalogs. And you'll pour through the seed catalogs and you'll want to order all of the new and improved varieties. And oftentimes those improved varieties are, have a little nomenclature beside them, and it'll say F1 or improved variety. And what that basically means is a hybrid. And the hybrid is it takes two parent lines of seed stock and combines them. And that first generation, F1 is what it stands for, exhibits something called hybrid vigor. So when you cross two lines of plant genetics, that first cross will exhibit higher yields, it'll exhibit more robust growth, and a lot of other features. So that's what a lot of growers have gone to. The consequence is that if you grow an F1 hybrid and you just save the seed from that, so let's say you grow a kale plant that is an F1 hybrid and you let it go to seed, you save the seed, you plant it again. The problem is it will revert to its original types and it won't be as productive, it won't be as vigorous. And so today we're gonna show you how to create your own improved hybrid types by selecting varieties in your garden and then crossing them as they grow. And then we're going to harvest the seed and we'll have our own F1 hybrids at the end of the day. One of the really cool things about growing brassicas is that they all cross-pollinate. So in this example, we used a bunch of different kale varieties, but if you wanted to get really crazy, you could grow Brussels sprouts and cabbage and kale and create your own unique cross of, I don't know. In fact, that's how we get Brussels sprouts. They're literally mini kale, broccoli, cabbage crosses. And so you can be your own Frankenstein and create your own crazy vegetable crosses with anything, for the most part, in the brassica family. So we've got a lot more to do to get this into a finished form. So we have to harvest this, we've got to let it dry for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to do a process where we remove the seed from the seed pod. You may be tempted just to leave this here, and you could until it browns out even more and the plant dies naturally. But by doing that, if it doesn't hang upside down, it kind of dries out not uniformly and it allows mold to enter the seed cavity, and so you'll have a lot less usable seed product. And again, some of these plants, This is a little bit smaller of a plant compared to this one. So I'm not going to save the seed from this. We have so much seed, we're really going to be selective in the plants that we use. So any plants that are not as mature, that don't look as healthy, that are smaller, we're not going to use. So in this instance, we're probably not going to use this one or this one or this one. But we are going to use these. This is a cruder example of how to save seed. You may want to use a garage or a covered porch or something that's completely waterproof. This actually will work just fine. It will get wet when it rains, but the canopy from this tree will protect it from most of the water, and more importantly, it'll protect it from the sun, and so it will allow it to dry and cool naturally. All right, now we're ready for the next step in our seed saving adventure, which is my favorite because it involves beating things with a stick. We are going to remove the seeds from the seed pods. So this is our kale plant, and it's been a couple of weeks, and you can see everything's dried up pretty nicely. All the leaves have crumbled up. We looked at these seeds earlier. They're not quite ready yet, so they're still green, so they haven't completed their drying out process. But fortunately, we also have another plant that we've been saving seed from. This is the Sakurajima radish, so it's a large Japanese daikon-like radish, and these seeds are ready, so we're going to use this as our stand-in example. When it comes time to remove the seeds from the seed pods, you need just a couple of things, and there's really no right or wrong answer. You need something to contain the seeds, and you need something to blow the chaff and the seeds apart from each other. Now we have all of this dry material that we're going to start separating the seed from. You can see here we've kind of ground everything up as much as possible. The next mission is to blow all this chaff off and leave the seeds. One of the things you want to think about is the breeze. So you can kind of see the breeze is moving this way. And so we want to make sure we orient our seed tray so we catch the seed down here. We're going to blow everything in the direction of the prevailing wind. And you see, you start with really small amounts of air. You don't want to blow away all the seeds. So if you start blowing seeds off like that, you know you're going too far. You can see if you do it just right, you're going to leave seeds at the bottom. So we're just going to bring this down. Okay, so we've winnowed down the seed and gotten rid of a lot of the seed pods, and now we're just going to try to remove this last little bit of chaff. So you see here, we've got some seeds that are split, but most of these should be good. And you know, we have at least a couple ounces of seed, several hundred, if not thousand, radishes from just 2 plants. But it just goes to show you, you know, if you let this go to seed, you can have a ton that you don't have to buy again at the store. We're going to let this dry out and make sure that we keep it in a relatively dry environment, a basement, something that's not too humid. There's still little green bits in here, so we want to make sure that this is as dry as possible so we can store it. You want to put it in something that's paper, preferably not plastic, and then we're going to make sure that we put the date that we harvested this and also the variety so we know what it is when we come back to plant it in the fall. A seed really is a magic trick if you think about it. I have a vivid memory of being in grade school and getting a lima bean seed and just soaking it and watching it grow. And although in part of my brain I knew what a seed was and what it did, to actually see the process unfold before your eyes is actually pretty amazing. You know, a seed is basically stored potential for the future. Everything starts from a little seed. So it could be an idea, it could be an action, it could be a plant, but everything starts with this little bundle of potential that we don't know what it's going to be in. A seed is formed and it has everything it needs to survive for the first few weeks of his life, which is pretty amazing. And you know, seeds don't fall from the sky. Actually, some do, but for the purposes of our discussion, let's just say seeds don't come from nowhere. They're the result of millions of successful experiments. It's actually incredible that this seed has made it to us. For every seed that we see, there are millions that failed because a predator ate them, or they were the wrong size, or they didn't survive. But these seeds have come down to us as a result of millions of iterations in the past, and it's pretty amazing that we're able to hold them right now. The fact that they exist is kind of miraculous. Even though it's not important for our survival anymore, saving seeds allows you to participate in a really important human ritual. We hear the term heirloom seeds and our shorthand is, oh, it must be tastier. But literally these seeds in our development, as we were coming from agricultural societies, were our heirlooms. It was the most important items that we could pass from generation to generation. And the beauty of it is that each specific seed line was reproduced in a specific place over time, so it was tailored to that location. And that's why when you say heirloom seeds, you're actually talking about something that a family preserved and gave down for generations all across the globe. When you're saving seeds, you're actually shaping the future. What do you want this plant to look like? What do you value in terms of what you're harvesting? And you can think of the same thing in your life. What are the things that you want to participate in the future, and what are the potentials that you can store to create new ideas, to envision a better future? Remember, it all starts with a seed. So we hope you plant a seed, watch it grow, share the harvest, take care, and eat well.